Welcome back to The Edge. Do local service ads have an impact on Google ad accounts? Australians are seeing a new notice on their Google search homepage. And is global privacy control the new web standard we will all be working around next? You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of February 1st, 2021, here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
And for some odd reason, that took me 5 takes to do. You're welcome. You're listening to Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, owner of Site Strategics. Thanks for joining us. Every week, we bring you amazing guests to talk with and chat about digital marketing techniques and topics from SEO, search engine marketing, search engine optimization, social media management, and all the things in between. We're covering news, digital news that we're bringing you each and every week, dropping it on Tuesdays for your digital consumption, so you can be armed with a week going into your digital efforts. So trying to get more news to you on a regular basis, even more quickly. And as long as I can make my takes correctly, we can get it even more quickly. I think we've been doing this for about an hour now, just so I could get through this. And it's a hot mess. How about that? Be sure to check out everything over at edgeofthewebradio.com, edgeofthewebradio.com. We're bringing this news as well as our ongoing, each and every week we have a interview with a particular guest. We're actually going after all the different digital marketing topics. And this week we're going to be talking to Fernando Angula, head of communications for SEMrush. So check that out. So we have 2 podcasts running each and every week here at Edge of the Web. So stay tuned on those. Welcome to the Site Strategics News Desk. We also don't have Bernie Sanders this week, so there's a plus or minus depending on your take on that. This is the Site Strategics Digital Marketing News Desk of Edge of the Web. Joining me this week to get his take and trying to give me a break because I'm fumbling over my lines is Morty Oberstein, SEO liaison of Wix. How you doing?
I was going to space laser you at a certain point. I was using my space laser, and I was going to space laser you if we had to do one more take. You got through it.
It's too much freaking coffee. That's what it is. Okay, so I got to tell you.
The coffee, that's the problem.
Yeah, well, actually it is. Problem. It's a good thing, though. I mean, I found a particular flavor that I really like, and it's that Black Rifle coffee. And it's a particular pod. It's AK-47 Espresso.
And it has cocaine in it.
And honestly, it does. So it's jamming me up right now. But after you get through the shudders and the shakes, it's all smooth sailing. It really is.
I just hope we have enough hard drive space to get through.
I'm going to blame it on the coffee. Are you a coffee drinker, Morty?
I love coffee.
I'm
a big coffee drinker.
Fantastic.
Unfortunately, COVID has killed me here a little bit. Not literally.
Be careful with how you say that.
So I'm in Israel, okay? So the coffee here is very different. And when I would go back and visit America, I would come back with a duffel bag full of coffee.
Ooh.
Which made customs think I was smuggling weed because that's how you smuggle weed in.
Got it.
But it was literally because I like Starbucks coffee, which you can't get here. So I haven't had that in a long time.
Oh my gosh, you haven't had the Americanized coffee. So what are you drinking instead?
No, I haven't. So what I do is I take espresso beans, like dark roast espresso beans, and I
chew them between your cheek and gum and.
Yeah, no, I use a French press, and I just like having dark roast, filtered coffee, because filtered coffee here is not a thing, believe it or not.
I don't believe it. Seriously.
No, believe it.
Oh
no, it's not. It's people drink, cappuccino, espresso, that kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah, Turkish coffee, which I don't like.
Can we send you a care package?
Yes, please.
Okay. So everybody who's listening,
put the weed in with the coffee.
Okay, I was about to make a plea to the audience to send Morty some coffee, but I'm not going to endorse sending packages of weed to Morty Oberstein.
I have glaucoma.
We're just going to skip past that.
Makes everything okay.
Absolutely. It's fine. All right. We got an article that we want to get through here and actually unpack because we always love when Joy Hawkins, who's a preeminent local search expert, chimes in over at Search Engine Land. How are local service ads impacting Google Ads accounts? Now, if you're not familiar with what local service ads are, got rolled out about 2 years ago. They're the additional service ads based on specific industries that you can actually get Google guaranteed, and Google actually backs you with a particular amount of backs the consumer, that if there's any particular issue with the service, Google will actually compensate that customer for the and you have to actually go through an entire background check. It's pretty rigorous what Google has you do to actually be part of the ad network in that space. It's usually HVAC. It's garage door companies. There's a number of different to your home type of service providers. But there's an entire ad space above the conventional ad space. So the article here is really focused on are those ads stealing clicks away from the local pack results and the additional ads in the conventional Google Ads space. So there has been data that shows, and they went through the entire series of I think the month of July and to October, and their click-through rates had a difference of a 3.9% reduction as local service ads started to actually show up on certain ad presentations. So for personal injury lawyer, for example, they saw that when local service ad accounts had been introduced, it was almost always resulted in a decline in the click-through rate of the traditional ad accounts. Accounts that didn't have the local service ads competing saw little change or increased during the click-through rate. So it makes sense because this is above the fold, above the ads. It's the most preeminent infrastructure topographically on the SERP. And on top of it, guess what? You're also getting stars. You're getting a heck of a lot of endorsement with a green check mark from Google. It's certainly going to affect your traditional ads. But what's also interesting here is that for lots of high commercial intent keywords, Google isn't even showing traditional ads anymore. It's Google guaranteed, and that's it. That's what's really interesting here, is that they've gone to a full degree of a small offering of Google local service ads to they're actually nudging out conventional ads because they work so well. All right. There's the coffee-riddled rant there for local ads. But Morty, what's your take? I know you're not regularly in the Google Ads space, but from a SERP real estate standpoint, what do you think about Google kind of cannibalizing its own ad infrastructure?
No, it kind of makes sense. Hey, look, it's a, let's push everybody into the Google guaranteed ads, right? Why not? So it's your only option, and you mentioned they're above the fold. It's basically a rich result,
right? Yeah,
above the fold. And I would imagine that in a space like lawyers, and no offense to lawyers, if you're listening to this, you're a lawyer. I don't think any less of you. But in a case where it's a little bit spammy, let's say a plumber, a locksmith, where you're kind of worried, and where you do traditionally have those spammy local listings, having the guaranteed option there is, hey, as a user, it's kind of worth it. Why not? From a user perspective, why wouldn't you click on that? Why would you click on the other ad?
If the user is understanding what Google Guaranteed actually does,
who cares? Green badge.
No, I mean, as a green badge, it's a protection for the consumer. And on top of that, inside of those spaces, those industries, there's been a lot of gamification in the Google My Business space with fly-by-night garage doors. In fact, one of our clients actually is a garage door company, and the rigor that you have to go through to get local services approved, you actually have to. We had to walk through the back lot and actually take pictures and show live stream the trucks with the logo on it, the equipment. I mean, that's how rigorous that entire vetting process was. So you can rest assured that the people that are on there, at least as it was when we were doing it for our group, it's tantamount to being kind of approved by Google, for lack of a better description. You know?
No, that's and they guarantee the work.
They do.
So it's they're taking away that risk. I mean, of course, if you're an organic local SEO, you're looking at it's like, hey, Google, maybe you could just, instead of doing this manually, getting rid of the spam by having people opt into your Google Guarantee program, why don't you just clean up the spam algorithmically, which they've been asking for forever?
That is true.
Because look, are you really offering the best results here? Or are you offering the results where the business was willing to pay the extra money to have the guaranteed listing?
Well, there's also something else about the Google local services that's also a little bit of a quandary here on my side of the fence from Google conventional ads, because you remember we had about 27% of long tail, low volume phrases kind of removed from the dashboard that we can't see those effective terms. Local service ads do have a bidding factor to them. You can actually do some manual bidding, but for the most part, it's actually, now check this out, it's actually tied to the lead generation, is that their budget actually gives you an estimate of how many leads you're going to have come in. So there's one more fold to this, is that you can have a number of phone calls that are going to this trackable phone number inside of local services. And if it's a spam call, right, you have an obligation as a customer or an advertiser to counter that and debate whether or not that's a legitimate phone call. If you don't push back, Google's going to count it as, yeah, that was a qualified lead. Now, if you think about that, think the two scenarios here. If I was trying to advertise on some really cheap long tail phrases that were very niche to my audience, and I get that taken away, right? And now that's not even on the real estate of some of the Google ad, some of the markets that are out there. And now, if I'm using Google Local Services, I also have to vet those calls and give a pushback of anything that's coming in. It could very well be considered a good turn of the wheel for Google Ads if you're not manning that helm. That's the only place that you can go, and it's going to be a heck of a lot more expensive and not nearly as pointed of a spear as you can make it. You know, see what I'm saying there?
Yep, and in a space, and I've done some research a long time ago about plumbers in New York City doing this. Like, there's a lot of really spammy stuff that goes on.
Sure.
Like where it's a local listing, but they have no local place. It's really like a call center, blah blah blah. And they're subbing you out to all the plumbers who are buying into their phone service, et cetera, et cetera. So if you think that these local businesses are not going to do that, and they're not going to spam you up.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to be a battalion.
Calling you from all different phone numbers. And you have another thing coming. That's exactly what they're going to do.
They're going to max out your budget, because you can set your weekly budget. They're going to max out your spend if you don't counter. And the deliberation process is about 3 to 4 days, as we see it. If you're on the stick, if you're actually pushing back Google, this was not a legitimate ad. They'll listen to the call, obviously. But if you're not there, yeah, your budget's going to go like that. There's no other game in town, because they're removing the conventional ads out of the equation. Oh my gosh.
That's a mess.
It is a mess.
Theoretically. In theory, that's a mess.
And you got to go down that road of how could this be gamed? Yeah, and there could very well be an entire...
Yeah, of course it's going to be gamed.
Yeah. All right.
Robocaller.
Google, exactly. All right, so we want to switch over to Search Engine Roundtable by the notable Barry Schwartz. He made a quick note on January 28th. Google Australia adds notice to search results about the news links law. Now, we've been covering this, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks now, and people are probably getting tired of this being a news item, but I just wanted to put this one in there because we are still paying attention to this mightily, because when it gets down to Google paying authors and content providers for their content to then list on their search results. I mean, there's a whole dynamic that we have to understand. It's the hot topic of the moment, and I wanted to continue to bring this to our listeners' attention. So you probably heard the news about that Australia wants Google and other platforms to pay to list search results to the news outlets, and Barry actually wrote a good deal more on Search Engine Land. Well, now Google has actually added a large noticeable banner to the top of the search results in Google Australia for any queries. You can actually see that on screen. If you were from Australia, you'd be able to see that. It says, Google search is in the news. You may have heard about a proposed law. We are willing to pay to support journalism. Here our proposal. Now, this is, we're going to skip through a good deal of the preamble from a PR standpoint, but I want you to hear what Google is actually saying to the Australian audience.
Paying for links breaks the way search engines work, and it undermines how the web works too. Let me try and say it another way. Imagine your friend asks for a coffee shop recommendation. So you tell them about a few nearby so they can go and choose one and go get a coffee. But then you get a bill to pay all the coffee shops simply because you mentioned a few of them. When you put a price on linking to certain information, you break the way that search engines work, and you no longer have a free and open web.
All right, so except for France, right?
Right. I thought the same thing. By the way, every blackhead SEO took that line. that buying links breaks away certain, and was like, yes, it's working. It's working. Google's the black hat version of Barry Schwartz's SEO Roundtable, wherever that exists, is like, story, Google confirms buying links breaks their search engine. Good job, guys.
They're just trying to Reddit Google now, right? So, I mean, the deal is we also reported the story last week that that Google has actually negotiated a deal to pay French editors and news agencies a particular negotiated rate based on a level of certification and different, I guess, unionized platforms of news broadcast, right? So they're doing that for the French, but Australia comes around, right? And I think there's a couple other countries that are also barking about this, and you're getting the back of the hand from Google. However, they are offering up something in the space of a negotiated response to news agencies out of search, but not privy to that. They're just making this PR piece right now, right?
Yeah, to me, that was like a lot of spin. Oh, I know. Let's talk about buying links. That's a hot topic. People know about that. Let's talk about breaking the web and free web and blah, 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 blah. When all they really should have said was, hey, they want us to, divulge our algorithm. We're not doing that. That's kind of crazy. So you won't have a search engine from Google.
At all. Yeah. They're going to take it away unless, so there's,
we're happy and say we're happy to pay. We're paying in France.
There's posturing going on, and there's the launch of the news showcase is what they're referencing here, and you can watch the entire video piece over at Barry's site. But basically, this product is actually being showcased to roll out next month. It's their latest tactic in a high-profile campaign against the Australian government's planned legislation to make the company pay for local news providers for content that appears in the search engine. So there's this news showcase that is going to be kind of the what do you want to call it, the Thunderdome of news news articles, and they're going to decide who they're going to pay and who they're not going to pay. What a hot mess this is! And
come on. Look, I don't know. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to speak to average people and get them to, buy in. First of all, I mean, let's be honest, like what average person would be like, I really feel bad for Google. Not to say that I think Google's necessarily wrong here. I don't think it's a fair request to divulge the, when algorithm updates are happening. That's ridiculous. Right. But like, are you really getting people to buy into you by saying, you're breaking the web with links and paying for mentions, your free web? Yeah, I lost you when you said Google.
Because there's a lot of individuals that don't believe that this is a free web. There's a lot of conspiracy nuts out there. There's a lot of legitimate arguments that Google's not really being fully free and fair and balanced, and not to coin a particular brand, right?
But technically speaking, right? We don't want buying links breaks the web. So does buying links to appear above the organic results break the web? Because that would be an ad.
Does bidding on your own products against advertisers that are using your own advertising network, does that break the web?
What about bidding on your own branded keywords because your competitors are bidding on your branded keywords?
Does that break the web?
That break the web?
All right.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
And this is the news. Good night, Seattle. All right.
Night and good luck.
Yeah. Well, let's go on to global privacy because, that's safe topic. Over the bird.
Can you please not go from one hot topic to the next? Killing me here.
Oh, okay. Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we mention our continued sponsor, Ahrefs. Ahrefs is a fantastic company, sponsor of The Edge, and they make competitive analysis very, very easy. Their tools show you how competitors are getting their traffic from Google and why. And then, yes, they're not paying links. These are legitimate analysis. You can see the pages and the content that send them the most search traffic and find out exact keywords they're ranking for and which backlinks are actually helping them. From there, you can replicate or improve on their strategies. So go check out Ahrefs. That's ahrefs.com today. You can actually sign up for 7 days, free 7 days for $7, $1 a day to be able to see their entire tool set. It's a fantastic tool set. Highly recommend you do the site audit because it is one of the best technical audits that we've come across over the years of looking at all the tools. And you guys know, if you've got this show, I'm a tool hoarder like nobody's business. So ahrefs.com, swimming great data like we do here over at Site Strategics. All right. Now, deeper end of the pool. Over at The Verge, we wanted to bring this article up from, I believe it's Russell Brandom. This was on the 28th of January, and it was regarding global privacy control wants to succeed where do not track failed. All right. So in today's internet, information is nearly impossible to control. It's becoming commonplace for a single website visit to spill over into targeted ads everywhere. Right? Assume that the information from your browsing history it will be available to target you on Instagram ads, Facebook ads, all ads in the ecosystem. Despite nominal commitments to privacy, tech companies have mostly given up trying to stop these data flows. So there's a number of privacy groups that are trying to counter this with a new standard called Global Privacy Control, which will change that. It's designed as a global opt-out, not an opt-in, a general signal that users want as little data collection as possible and sharing as possible. In general, the GPC standard will let users signal that they don't want services to share their data with third-party data brokers, something that is outside the reach of most modern privacy tools. So the team actually hopes that with this new signal, that'll actually give users a way to protect their data after it's been collected and ensure personal information doesn't travel too far. That's always assuming that these websites collectively are actually going to respect that particular GPC signal. So, I mean, there's been a long history of the California Consumer Privacy Act, and that passage of that California Privacy Rights Act in November also was strengthening the CCPA. So we've got a good deal of privacy initiatives in place here, but this global privacy control is meant to actually automate that opt-out, letting users with a single click of the button on their browser instead of hunting the opt-out for every website that they visit. So starting last week, browsers from Brave and DuckDuckGo will actually send the GPC signal by default, and DuckDuckGo plugins will let you bring the same signal to Firefox and Chrome. There's a number of other Privacy Badger, Abean, and Disconnect Me have made similar moves to build the standard into their products. Also, the project organizers estimate that 40 million users worldwide will be sending out the GPC signal through one of the products or the other, giving them surprising political muscle where future privacy rules are written. So that's the article. The article dives deep into the New York Times, Washington Post, and others. Please check it out. But we wanted to make sure you were aware that there is an evolution of the privacy issues here, and there's a new solution coming into the horizon, and that's this GPC control that you can manage from your browser. So with all that, Morty, what's your thought on privacy control, privacy of data? There's also plenty of conversations in the digital ID realm and what have you, but we're talking about the loss of third-party cookies, right? We've got to have some sort of control on this. So go for it, man.
I should talk now?
I guess so.
Oh.
And another thing.
No, I'm kidding. So no, it's like I view this the way I view this is like this. Like you have technology advanced and the user had no idea what was happening. So they just grab whatever they could possibly grab. Right. And now you have the user starting to wake up a little bit. And you have a pushback you're going to get to the point where the users wake up, or like for users, come on, let's stop this, where people wake up to the fact of what's going on and what it means and what's a browser. Oh, they're collecting. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is a problem. And good on DuckDuckGo and good on Brave for getting ahead of the curve, because it's going to bite everybody at a certain point. And you see Google's trying to do the same thing. That in Chrome over the next 2 years, they're gonna do groupings, so you won't have exact third-party cookies, but they'll be able to tell the sites what's going on by general categories. So it won't go down to the user level, but you'll have general categorical information, so you can still have some sort of idea what's going on. Which I think, by the way, is a bad move. That's again behind the curve. Like the head of the curve is go ahead, automatically opt out, which is the way it should be, right? It's my information. It should be an automatic opt out, and I should opt in. If websites were smart about it, they would have a button. do you want to opt in? And because there are cases like legitimately, I do this all the time. If I want to shop for something, and this is a total hack, what I'll do is I'll go to Facebook and I'll start looking for that product on Facebook. And I know that my Facebook feed will be filled with that kind of stuff. The next two, no, like just I don't have to do anything.
It's like
it comes
a personal
right to
shopper.
Me. It's what I want. No, it's great. It's great. It's perfect.
Excellent. I mean, you're actually
But
using
that's me
remarketing
opting into the algorithm
exactly
in a way.
Exactly. So,
and I don't mind that. When I see tons of, I'm looking for a new carpet. So now I have tons of it. This is exactly what I want. I don't come to Facebook for anything else, to be honest with you. I hate Facebook. So that's what I do.
That is funny. So you have a personal shopper when it comes down to remarketing ads. You'll click on that. You'll just chum the waters.
Algorithm. And it goes hog wild. Like give it like 3 seconds.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
My entire feed. It's awesome. No, it's great. But because I want it to be, it's great. But when I go to a website,
right,
and I know what's happening because I went to a random website because I do a lot of SERP research, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to something that has nothing to do with anything that I would possibly on this world, Jewish space lasers. And now I get tons of ads in Facebook for Jewish space lasers.
Oh.
I think that's scammy.
Wait a minute.
We don't use them on the Sabbath, by the way.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, so
okay, so there's an entire industry of Jewish space
Friday to sundown Saturday. You have no worries about Jewish space lasers.
Oh, okay. I was worried. That wouldn't be abided by, but we appreciate that.
Also, Yom Kippur, we don't use this space laser.
For everybody who is wondering about that, check out there's a U.S. Congresswoman that decided to blame California forest fires on "quote unquote" Jewish space laser, singular.
Secret.
A secret.
That's inaccurate. There are lasers. Everyone gets one for their bar mitzvah. And what happened with the fires was Shlomo got a little bit too drunk on the peach schnapps, and he missed. He missed.
It makes you worry about the whole circumcision side of things now.
Right. Shlomo can no longer do circumcisions. He can still officiate weddings. But also he's lost all space laser privileges for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So
back to my original point.
Yep.
When I see something that I know has nothing to do with me show up in my Facebook feed or show up on ads, I feel violated. I do, and I will never buy that product ever, even if I was interested in it. So, sites.
We should be absolutely. We should be in an opt-in environment with digital privacy, not an opt-out. Because
how about this? Sites, when you have that pop-up, like subscribe to our site. How about you give me a button and say, would you like to receive notifications? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, please. Can we third-party cookies? Sure, no problem.
But that doesn't give us the volume, Morty. That doesn't give us any amount of collective marketing. You're actually putting everything in the hands of the users. I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous. And sites might have to go back if they don't have this information to doing market research. The horror.
I don't sense any sarcasm in this show whatsoever.
Never sarcastic.
All right. What's going on over at SEO Chat this week? What happened last week?
Oh, so unfortunately, if you're not part of the SEO industry, so we canceled SEO Chat.
That's right.
Fortunately, Hamlet Batista, a beloved SEO, I'll tell you a quick story about Hamlet, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I was going to tee that up to you, actually.
Yeah. So, it was very jarring. I mean, I woke up and I almost didn't believe what I saw on Twitter. So when I started at Wix, I was doing some market research. Crazy. I didn't have third-party cookies. How do you do market research? And I asked, hey, Hamlet, can I pick your brain a little bit at Wix? He goes, I really haven't touched Wix. I had nothing to really, I have a software company. It doesn't really fit into my basket. So, I would really appreciate it anyway. I'm just trying to understand perception around Wix. You don't have to touched Wix. I know it has nothing to do with exactly what you do. It's like, as long as it you don't mind, I would love to help you. He got nothing out of it. There was no benefit to him whatsoever. And he spent a good hour with me, letting me pick his brain about what he thought about certain things regarding CMSs. And it was, one of those things where you can generally tell. I asked him and say, hey, Hamlet, your content at one point, I said, it's so hot. And if you were not in the SEO world, Hamlet's content around Python and SEO and all that good automation was incredibly popular. And he said back to me, he's like, the more people who keep saying that, the more I'm maybe starting to believe it. Which is like, it's like telling like Sandy Koufax, like, your pitch is really fast, man. Yeah, is it? I didn't really notice, but he was like legitimate about it.
Yeah.
Legitimately humble, really, really nice person. It's a huge loss to the industry. So we canceled SEO chat. I was hosting. I was not in the headspace to do it. I don't think anybody was in the headspace to participate. Oh, by the way, there's a GoFundMe for Hamlet, and there's a website. I should know it. SEOpythonistas.com. SEOpythonistas, and you can see the GoFundMe for Hamlet there. You can leave a comment if you knew him or were familiar with him, and be shared with his family. So that's some really, really nice things. I think Charlie Wagner put that together.
Lily Ray also,
Lily Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really pushed on it, and it's as terrible as it is to lose anybody in any particular industry. The community, the SEO community that's coming around and rallying, and just really sharing stories about him. It's really amazing seeing everybody stand up and just share the inspiration that he left.
He was just like, he was legitimately the sweetest guy. Like, there was no pretense.
That's fantastic.
I
wish I would have met him. Well, thank you for sharing that, Morty. I appreciate it, and we certainly will show the link out there on our show notes, as well as get it into social. So if you want to learn more about Hamlet, please go check him out and find out about his story. Can you? Are you going to be having an SEO chat this week?
Oh yeah. SEO chat was back this week. Mandy Osmond is hosting. I believe the top. I should know this off the top of my head, but I just went my brain dead for a second. Is badass content that both ranks and resonates with your audience.
Oh,
so if you want to learn about how to, or you want to learn and or chat about how to make content that meets both search engines and users, that sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
That is a topic, 1 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday, #SEO chat.
Very good. Very good. We'll be watching. And we missed it a couple weeks back. Got there late.
Yeah, you did. You show. Is it over?
I did it on purpose, obviously. Hey, wait a minute. It's like, hey, I brought the punch. All right. So we'll be in there slogging away. All right. Listening. And it's a great community there. So check it out if you're an SEO in whatever vein, beginner, intermediate, or an advanced SEO. You want to have that type of community.
No pretense.
Nope.
No pretense.
A little bit of sarcasm from Morty and a few
Alan Bleiweiss.
And Alan Bleiweiss, right?
A lot of sarcasm from Alan Bleiweiss. That's his thing.
That is his thing. All right, that's it for Edge News this week. Look for the second half for Nanda Angula's podcast, the head of communication over at SEM Rush. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updated. We'd love a review on iTunes as well. That's how we get the word out about what we're doing. So let us know how we're doing, and subscribe to the newsletter as well, because we're pushing out this content each and every week. So from all of us over at Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week.